All right, so for today's question about civics, I want to look at what does birthright citizenship mean when it comes to the Fourth Amendment. That's, of course, been kind of topical, but the first section, the first sentence of the 14th Amendment says that all persons born in or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. This is called the Citizenship Clause, and it's one of the most important sentences in the entire Constitution. And to understand why it happens to matter, we have to go back to one of the worst Supreme Court decisions in American history. And this is Dred Scott v. Sandford. So it's 1857, and the Supreme Court said that black people, whether enslaved or free, could not be citizens of the United States. And that decision helped push the country, not directly, but indirectly, to the Civil War. When the Civil War concludes, the Reconstruction Amendments change the Constitution, the 13, the 14, and the 15. The 13th Amendment, of course, abolishes slavery. The 14th Amendment established national citizenship, due process, and equal protection. The 15th Amendment protected voting rights regardless of race. Now, we're not to gender yet. We don't get that until we get the 19th Amendment in the 1920s. But the Citizenship Clause was not a minor technical detail of the 14th Amendment. It was a direct rejection of the Dred Scott decision. It said that citizenship would no longer depend on race or ancestry or whether a state wanted to recognize you. So if you were born in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction, you were a citizen. And that phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, is where modern debate usually lives. That's where it's usually at, because it does create some exceptions. So, for example, children of foreign diplomats are not usually considered subject to U.S. jurisdiction in the same way. You know, ambassadors, people who attend the consulate, that kind of stuff. It's because diplomats or ambassadors typically have special legal status. Historically, Native Americans were also treated differently because tribal nations had a separate sovereign relationship in the United States with the United States. And this was later changed through Congress when they later granted U.S. citizenship to Native Americans through the Indian Citizenship Act of 1924. But the question today is usually different. Does the 14th Amendment grant citizenship to children born in the United States if their parents are not citizens, right? You've heard them called anchor babies and such like that, right? So for more than 100 years, for more than a century, the major Supreme Court case on this question was United States v. Wong Kim Ark in 1898. Wong Kim Ark was born in San Francisco to Chinese parents who were not U.S. citizens. After traveling to China, he was denied re-entry into the United States on the argument that he was not really an American citizen. But the Supreme Court disagreed. The court said that because Wong Kim Ark was born in the United States and because his parents were not foreign diplomats, he was a citizen under the 14th Amendment. In 2025, President Trump issued an executive order attempting to narrow birthright citizenship within the 14th Amendment. That executive order said that some children born in the United States would not automatically be recognized as citizens if their mother was unlawfully present or in the country temporarily, and their father was not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. So this created a direct constitutional question. Can a president reinterpret the Citizenship Clause by executive order? And in 2026, here recently, the Supreme Court rejected that attempt. The court held that children born in the United States to parents who are unlawfully or temporarily present are still citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment. That was important for two reasons. First, it reaffirmed the long-standing understanding, kind of tangled my tongue on that one, that long-standing understanding of birthright citizenship. And then second, it reminded us that the Constitution cannot be changed by executive order. So when it comes down to the power in our government, right? Presidents have power, and so does the Congress, and so do the courts. The separation of their own powers to enforce, to legislate, to make laws, and to interpret those laws. Now, when we all get back to it, the constitutional text has meaning, and changing that meaning requires a whole lot more than just a president's signature. So now, does this mean that immigration policy cannot be debated? Well, of course it can be. In a republic, debate can happen about things like take place about border security, visas, asylum, enforcement, naturalization, immigration law. All those things are on the table. Those are legitimate policy debates. But citizenship is different here. Citizenship is the legal foundation of belonging to the political community. So it's the status that connects a person to rights, protections, duties, identity, and membership in the republic itself. And it answers a basic question. Who is born into the American political community? Well, the 14th Amendment's answer was shaped by the failure of a nation that once denied citizenship to people born here because of race. And that history should make us more careful in our approach. The Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment was written to make citizenship more secure, not less secure. It was written to prevent states or officials from denying citizenship to disfavored groups. It was written so that citizenship would not depend on the shifting preferences of those in power. And that doesn't make every modern question easy, but it does make the constitutional principle quite serious. So what does birthright citizenship mean in the 14th Amendment? Fries in the bag time, right? It means that people born in the United States and subject to U.S. jurisdiction are citizens at birth, full stop. It means citizenship is not supposed to depend on whether government officials approve of who your parents are. It means the Constitution places limits on political attempts to redefine who belongs. The real civic question is not whether immigration policy can be debated, because, like we've already said, it can. The real question is whether citizenship guaranteed by the Constitution can be narrowed by ordinary politics or executive orders or executive power. And the answer to that, historically and constitutionally, is no. That's why birthright citizenship is so important and why it matters and what it means within the 14th Amendment. And today, I thought that was another one of those important questions worth asking. Thanks a lot. Thanks for hanging around. If you have questions yourself, please send them my way, and I'll do what I can to answer them. And also, thanks for hanging around for the duration of this video as well. Share it with those that could use some clarity. Take care.